Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Last night we completed Surah Al-Hajj. I'm just going to talk about a few verses in the middle of Surah Al-Hajj which are associated with a controversial story which has been used to spread negative slander against Islam and the spread of Islam and against the Prophet ﷺ. So it's important to hear the whole story before leaving, so that you don't go with a misunderstanding. Also, it's on video, so the people who are watching this video, they are also requested to listen to the whole story so that they get a better understanding of what that story is about. It's mentioned in a riwayah that the Prophet ﷺ, once he was reciting some verses from Surah Al-Najm. And in Surah Al-Najm, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَفَرَأَيْتُمُ اللَّاتَ وَالْعُزَّى وَمَنَاةَ الثَّالِثَةَ الْأُخْرَى وَمَنَاةَ الثَّالِثَةَ الْأُخْرَى. And after that, as he was reciting, he inserted, and again this is a riwayah which we'll hear the validity of afterwards, he recited, تِلْكَ الْغَرَانِيقُ الْعُلَى وَإِنَّ شَفَاعَتَهُنَّ لَتُرْتَجَى. So the verses, أَفَرَأَيْتُمُ اللَّاتَ وَالْعُزَّى, did you see Al-Lat and Uzza, which were two statues of the Quraysh, and Wamanat is another statue of Quraysh. This is the third one that was mentioned, Lat, Uzza and Manat. So after that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, the real verse is, it talks about male and female and so on, that the Quraysh used to say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has daughters, and the daughters are the angels and so on. So to denounce that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions some verses. But after these verses about Allah and Al-Uzza, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, تِلْكَ الْغَرَانِيقُ الْعُلَى وَإِنَّ شَفَاعَتَهُنَّ لَتُرْتَجَى, which is not part of the Quran. And these verses mean that these glorious statues or these glorious idols, indeed their shafa'ah or intercession can be hoped for. SubhanAllah. So the idols, which Islam is completely against, shirk associating with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Islam is completely against. And then according to this riwayah, the Prophet ﷺ is praising the idols, and he's saying, not only is he saying that they are glorious, rather he is saying, on top of that, he's saying that their intercession can be hoped for. So this story continues. I'm going to finish the story, and then the verse associated with it, and then the reality behind the story. So and then the Prophet ﷺ continued until the end of Surah Al-Najm. At the end of Surah Al-Najm, there's a sajda. He prostrated, and also all of the kuffar of Quraysh, they prostrated alongside with him. Two of the kuffar of Quraysh that were old, they could not do so, so they even took up some soil from the ground and put it to their head to indicate that they were prostrating. And then they went home very happy that today Muhammad has said something that was very pleasing to us, and if he continues to say things like this, then we're going to go along with him because he's praising our idols. So after this, Jibreel alayhi salam came down to the Prophet ﷺ and said, Ya Rasulullah, how come you said something today that I never brought for you? I never revealed these verses that you said. How come you said that? And the Prophet ﷺ became very upset, and he became very despondent at what had happened. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the verses which are in Surah Al-Hajj, which I'm going to recite now. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِن قَبْلِكَ مِن رَسُولٍ وَلَا نَبِيٍّ إِلَّا إِذَا تَمَنَّى أَلْقَى الشَّيْطَانُ فِي أُمْنِيَّتِهِ فَيَنْسَخُ اللَّهُ مَا يُلْقِي الشَّيْطَانُ ثُمَّ يُحْكِمُ اللَّهُ آيَاتِهِ وَاللَّهُ عَلِيمٌ حَكِيمٌ. There has never been a prophet before you, no Rasul or Nabi before you, and we heard the difference between Rasul and Nabi from Mufti Said last night. He mentioned what's the difference between them. So there has never been any Rasul or any Nabi before you, except whenever he made a tamanna, and here tamanna refers to reciting. Whenever he recited, the Shaytaan, he inserted things inside that recitation. The Shaytaan inserted things inside that recitation. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he deleted or omitted what the Shaytaan had put, then he made strong his own verses. Wallahu alimun hakim. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is all-knowing and all-wise. So, what is the reality behind this story? And what does it actually mean? And if it's true, then actually the whole Quran can come under scrutiny, that how many of those verses did the Shaytaan influence and try to change or distort? Is that a possibility? So this riwayah is used by the non-Muslims nowadays to actually put doubt into the minds of the Muslims and to show that the Shaytaan had an influence, na'udhu billah, on the Prophet ﷺ. So what is the reality behind this story? The scholars have come to the conclusion that this story, there is a lot of weakness behind it, and some scholars even go as far as to say that it's a fabricated story. There is no source behind it, and there's no validity to this actual story. However, others have said that there is some validity to the story, and what actually happened was this. The thing that actually happened was that the Prophet ﷺ, he's reciting, and he was reciting according to the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with tartil. Tartil means to recite slowly. So he used to recite slowly, and he used to put gaps between the verses. And while he was reciting these verses, in the middle, the Shaytaan intervened, and imitating the sound of the Prophet ﷺ, he said those verses. تِلْكَ الْغَرَانِقُ الْعُلَى وَإِنَّ شَفَاعَتَهُنَّ لَتُرْتَجَى. And because he imitated the Prophet ﷺ so well, everybody thought it was the Prophet ﷺ that said it, and even the kuffar of Quraysh, they thought that he said it, and they fell into prostration at the end of Surah An-Najm. So, according to the real understanding of what this verse means, this verse or the story means, this verse actually we can understand it another way. That وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِن قَبْلِكَ مِن رَسُولٍ وَلَا نَبِيٍّ. Whenever there was a prophet or Rasul or Nabi that came before you, O Prophet of Allah, there was, whenever he used to recite, أَلْقَى الشَّيْطَانُ فِي أُمْنِيَتِهِ, the Shaytaan used to intervene within the recitation and try to fool people, as the story suggests that I've just mentioned. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, فَيَنْسَخُ اللَّهُ مَا يُلْقِ الشَّيْطَانُ ثُمَّ يُحْكِمُ اللَّهُ آيَاتِهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would cancel out whatever the Shaytaan had put, and he would make his own verses stronger. Wallahu alimun hakim. Allah is indeed all-knowing and all-wise. So if you come across this story, remember that it did not happen according to what people are trying to portray, that actually the Prophet ﷺ recited these verses which were incorrect, or said statements which were completely against the spirit of Islam, which contained shirk. It is impossible for us to believe that. Otherwise, again, the whole Quran's validity comes into question. The whole wahi and the Prophet ﷺ's prophethood and the whole message comes into question. What actually happened was that as the Prophet ﷺ recited, the Shaytaan imitated him, said some words, and people thought that it was the Prophet ﷺ reciting. And to console the Prophet, at the end, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed these verses to tell him that this has happened with prophets before. The Shaytaan has tried this with Anbiya ﷺ before. You're not the first one. So if it happened to you, and the Shaytaan imitated you and made this sound come as if it was coming from you, this is not something new. So, O Prophet of Allah, do not be upset and do not take it to heart. This is something that has happened before to other Anbiya ﷺ too. So, we also need to understand the validity of this story, and we need to understand what is the reality of the story before when we hear this, any negativity about it, we should have a response and understand the true nature of what happened, so that we can have a good response ready, so that the person who is trying to accuse Islam, he will realize that he is in the wrong, and Islam is still valid, the Quran is valid, and nothing, the Shaytaan has never influenced or changed or tampered with the Quran. It is in its intact and original state as it was revealed to us from the Prophet ﷺ from Jibreel alayhi salam and from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us tawfiq to understand and practice what has been said and heard.